The iOS 7 update. Here's what you need to know to make sure that you have the best experience when you do update your iPad. There are a few absolute musts with updating to iOS 7. First of all, and most importantly, you need to know your Apple ID and your password. Memorize it, make a note of it. You will need it, and you may lose functions on your iPad without it. You also need to know the passcode. That's the 4-digit number that you would put in when you start using your iPad. So all of this information you need to know, and nobody at school has access to it. Your Apple ID and your password, as well as your passcode, are your own information. If you need to find your Apple ID to remind you what it is, you can find it in two different places on your iPad. The first is looking in Settings under iCloud, and you'll see the Apple ID on the top right of the page. The next way to find your Apple ID on your iPad is to look in the iTunes and App Stores part of Settings, and you'll see it in the same location on the upper right of the screen. You do need to know your password either of these ways. Your password will not be displayed, but you can at least see what the Apple ID is. Whenever you type in your Apple ID to log into anything, it is the entire email address listed. On another note, do not allow anybody else to use their Apple ID on your iPad. Doing so may disable features like the iTunes Store, the App Store, or it may make it so that you cannot reset your device if anything should happen to it. Continuing with the absolute musts for updating. It's important that you update all apps before updating your operating system. You'll need to do this at home or outside of school. App updates have been one of the main causes for slow internet at school. So to avoid this, we would like you to use Wi-Fi outside of the district. Be sure that you have no updates remaining in your App Store when you decide to move to iOS 7. Finally, in the absolute must list, update iOS 7 at home or away from school. Currently, updating at school is blocked. With over 7,000 iPads in our district, the Wi-Fi cannot handle mass updating. So you're ready to update. That's great. You can go ahead and update whenever you're ready. Before you update, you should also make sure to back up your iPad to iCloud. If you're not sure how to do this, you can ask somebody. I'm sure people around you will know. But if you look in Settings under iCloud, you can go into Storage and Backup, and you will have the option to back up now. You should make sure it's completely up to date when you update to iOS 7. You should also back up the data within other apps. Backing up to iCloud in the settings will only back up the data that is on the iPad, such as photos, movies in your camera roll, and all of your apps, your calendar, your contacts, so on and so forth. But within apps, all of the documents are not backed up unless you do that within the apps. The biggest one for us is Notability. If you open Notability, there are settings for backing up to Google Drive or to iCloud. So you're ready to update. You can feel free to update at any time, as long as you are not at school. There's also no rush, so you don't have to update yet if you don't want to. There are still a few bugs with iOS 7 that are being worked out, but for the most part, it is up and running, and it should work fine for you. If you want more info about iOS 7 and the features that are available, you can visit this website, http://www.apple.com/ios/what-is. You can also look on YouTube if you're looking for general how-tos or general information about the new features of iOS 7. You'll find several resources there. If you need instructions on how to update, please keep watching. If you're ready to update and you know how to update, you may do so at any time. So how do I update? First of all, go into Settings, and under General, you will see in Software Update that there is one available. The number 1 indicates that an iOS update is indeed there. So tap on that Software Update and tap Install Now. The first time you do this, the first time you look anyway, it should say Download and Install. Once you do so, you'll be asked to agree to the terms and conditions. You'll need to agree in both places, first on the bottom right of the box and then on the pop-up that comes up. Do not tap Send by email unless you would like the 34-page agreement sent to you by email. Getting started. So once you do all of that, you will have iOS 7 on your device and it will look like this. Go ahead and open it up and it will tell you that your update has completed and you can tap continue. Then you'll begin setting up iOS 7. The setup will ask you to create a passcode. You may already have a passcode on your device which you can enter at that time. This is the 4-digit code that you use when you start using your iPad. It is best for you to have a passcode so that others cannot access information on your iPad. You'll need Wi-Fi to continue the setup. When asked about location services, be sure to enable location services, the top choice. Then you will need your Apple ID password. It will tell you what your Apple ID is, but you will need to enter your password. It is case sensitive. It requires one number and one capital letter. This password will be the same as it was before. You will not be able to change your password at this time. You will want to use Find My iPad in iOS 7. This will require Apple ID and your password when it's removed. This is new with iOS 7. If your device is lost or stolen, nobody else can access information or reset what's already on your iPad without knowing your Apple ID and password. It also means that if you turn in your iPad, or if you need to have it restored or anything happens to it, you will need to know your Apple ID and password in order to disassociate it from your device. This means it's very important for you to know it, and it will be hard for you to accomplish some tasks as far as fixing an iPad or getting a new iPad if you have forgotten your Apple ID and password. Once again, the school district does not have access to this information. It is your personal information, and you are the only one who knows it. You're now up to date. You can start using your iPad to check out new features of iOS 7. Again, if you need to find some features, you can look on the Apple website, or you can search on YouTube or on Google to find out some of the overview of iOS 7. If you have questions, feel free to ask students, ask teachers, ask in the Media Center, or check with a tech specialist in your building.